Hello, everyone. Been a while, huh? Sorry about that. You like the new look? I'm considering this to be a new era of ghosts, probably, so I thought it just made sense to update my Sona. We're leaning more ghostly this time, and I just like to be purple. Moving on. Please ignore the fact that it is October, and we are doing Pride stickers. The past half a year has been insane for me, but I did it. I finally got the video out. So if you like any of the designs, please consider checking them out. I'm trying to focus more on art as a career right now after being burned by retail for like a year, and so any support really helps. Let's just get started. Up first, we have our lovely headmistresses. I wanted a pose for them that was not inherently romantic, but still something that really radiated the tension they have. I searched for references for so long, and eventually decided on having them reading a book together by candlelight. I like the idea that they could even still be considering each other rivals at this point, but simply can't help but feel their complicated past shining through as they search for answers to whatever predicament their students have landed them in at the moment. Faragonda and Griffin knew each other when they themselves were students at Cloud Tower and then Althea. They originally met as roommates, while Faragonda was pretending to be a witch, and it wasn't long until they became involved. However, Faragonda was not actually a witch. She was a fairy. She was only spending time at Cloud Tower because she felt that she was already an adept magic user and wanted to see what she could learn from the people who had to learn their magic through a system foreign to her. Witches do not have the innate source of power that fairies have, and thus learn to cast spells by engaging with the magic of the world around them. Once Faragonda felt that she had studied the witches enough, she returned to Althea, leaving Griffin behind, feeling heartbroken and betrayed. And when they grew up to eventually become the headmistresses of their respective schools, that resentment towards Faragonda was still there. I think it likely wasn't until they had to interact on this professional level that Faragonda felt those negative emotions in return. Instead, she had seen Griffin as more of a fling. She had known all along that her time at Cloud Tower was temporary. When Bloom shows up and the first of many magical villains begins terrorizing the students, Faragonda and Griffin would have had no choice but to try working together to get to the bottom of things. I imagine much of the time they spend together would suddenly be late-night meetups, long hours spent researching and reading history books, and hushed discussions over bottles of blood-red wine. I tried to represent that secrecy with the flame of the candle that serves as their singular light source. Ultimately, the intimate nature of their alliance behind closed doors is what brings them back to eventually being a couple. And this time when they do, I think Faragonda ends up falling hard. Now she isn't just going to compartmentalize her feelings away like she did in the past. And her willingness to attempt actual vulnerability and affection is what convinces Griffin to let her in again, as she knows just how difficult it is for the fairy. For this sticker, I do think maybe I went a little too hard on the whole thing. I love the result, but damn, it took me so long to actually finish it. So I did turn the theatrics down a little bit on the rest. But honestly, if any of them were going to be overly dramatic, I'm sure glad it was these two. Next up, we have who I consider to be the young counterparts of Griffin and Faragonda. I envision Lucy taking over Cloud Tower one day, and Mirta ends up as vice headmistress of Althea, but I think it still works. Lucy has always been someone who seemed overlooked in life, with Griffin not even really noticing her as a student, let alone considering her a promising young witch like she had initially with Icy. But then Icy ended up being, well, evil, which was surely a humbling moment for Griffin. And though Lucy did initially follow the tricks in an effort to befriend them and finally feel worthy, feel like she fits in, after she finds out what they did to Mirta, she ultimately betrays them to join the side of good. And that is what actually makes Lucy feel worthy. Though, in Mirta's eyes, She always had been. To her, Lucy is everything. She always saw her as a beautiful witch bursting with potential. When she lost her way and ended up with the wrong crowd, Mirta never gave up hope that she would see the truth. And what gets Lucy to eventually see it is her love for Mirta. I wanted the two of them to look like they were just enjoying a nice, peaceful day together. No drama, no secrets, no pressure. Just a sunny day out on the lawn. I definitely wanted them to be outside, where Lucy can find some bugs to talk about and where they can look up at the clouds and daydream. But in this moment, all they really see is each other. I realized while working on this one that I don't really draw people interacting with each other physically very often. For a while now, a lot of my art has been design-based, which, while I do try to incorporate interesting poses, doesn't really lead to anything other than people standing there. I don't know, I guess I'm just trying to say that I hope this actually looks like two bodies intertwined and sitting in the grass. I have them in their civilian clothes since I feel like they're just much more iconic and recognizable, and why would they be chilling in their magic forms, I guess? But also because I wanted Lucy to have her civilian color palette. Though I think I alluded to it in her video, I don't think I ever actually said it outright for some reason, but I imagine Lucy finds comfort in identifying as genderqueer. Her outfit is green, white, and purple as a reference to the pride flag. I don't think she would realize this until after some time has passed following the battle with Darkar, as she begins to take the time to truly understand herself. She's always felt like she was doing something wrong when it came to being a girl. And I think that knowing Mirta loves and accepts her unconditionally would give her the courage to explore those feelings a little bit more. God, these two are just one of my favorite ships in all of Winx. They are so cute together, and I love that they managed to feel almost canon in a show that was certainly not going to make any true queer relationships. That's definitely nice. Even as a kid, like, I could see it. I'm not sure if this counts as spoilers for the reboot. I also doubt most of you care. But I'm really disappointed that there's been zero sign of either of them. I don't know if they had a harder time incorporating their storyline with the schools being merged, or if they just thought they weren't marketable, or what. But part of me thinks it's possible they were cut for being too queer. I don't have any evidence for that, obviously, so don't take it as fact. It's just me, speculating. Would you guys want me to make a video talking about the reboot? I totally ignored the existence of Fate, but this one is animated, and it feels more like it's actually trying to be Winx. They even had a booth at Comic-Con showcasing the dolls, so I think they're really planning on it being a thing for a while, unfortunately. For this sticker, I had such a hard time choosing a pose. It was hard to find something that had the right level of romance. I see them as very sophisticated, elegant men, and I think they would express their affection in that theatrical, passionate way you might find in an old-school romance novel. It's like if Mr. Darcy from Pride and Prejudice had his own Mr. Darcy. I imagine Avalon to be the kind to kiss Palladium on the hand in every greeting and be sure to offer his arm wherever they go, subtly flaunting his handsome husband with classy PDA. Palladium is definitely the kind to overindulge in setting up candlelit dinners and acquiring enchanted wines. Avalon is definitely the kind of teacher that stays late often, helping students and doing other work of his own, and Palladium would have him arrive home to rose petals and a warm lavender bath. Anyways, yeah, all of the other poses I tried ended up looking really, intimate. Very sensual. I think it's Palladium's fault. I think he and his slutty little waist were trying to possess me through my tablet pen. He's just so tall that to get him eye level with Avalon, I had to draw him, leaning in some way, so the pose ended up feeling, I don't know, This one ended up working out well because I could still have it feel like Avalon is the more grounded, pragmatic one, while Palladium tends to be more animated. So their poses can fit those feelings while they can still make eye contact. Actually, for a while, I wasn't sure if I was going to end up doing the pose I did. I was worried it would feel like I was ignoring Avalon's bad leg. I wasn't sure if he'd be able to physically do the pose, you know? But I actually think it ended up being better than all the others because I finally realized the very obvious solution of just incorporating his cane. I even got to show him using it, which I thought was nice. And like I was talking about before, I really tried to make it look like he was actually interacting with the cane as well as actually holding up Palladium. I hope it looks like there's weight to them and he's not just floating there. I mean, I think it does. I'm happy with how it looks, at least. I feel like the two of them look the way they do in my head, like distinguished gentlemen. And I'm glad that Palladium looks like a grown adult, despite being an elf. He's youthful, but still clearly mature. Honestly, I think this sticker might be my personal favorite. Not only do I feel like the characters look right, I'm really happy with the composition, too. When I first drew Roxy, I really wanted to draw R2 with her, but by the time I actually finished her designs and was ready to get the video out, I never did. I was a Warrior Cats kid growing up, and I still am definitely more of a cat person, so I have a lot more experience drawing felines, but I did my best. I think I should have made R2 a bit bigger if he's really a wolf, since, you know, they're huge, but I don't mind saying that he's, you know, not fully grown yet. Otherwise, there is zero chance Roxy would be able to lift him, even just for a quick picture like I imagined this to be. Oh, also, when I was originally working on Roxy, I really wanted to give her big side-swept scene kid bangs, but I don't know, I think it just didn't really feel right in the moment for some reason. Sometimes I still regret it. I like how that shape would mimic her original hair, but other times I'm happy with what I ended up with. I think maybe the baby bangs and shaved side are more in line with modern alternative subcultures. And I like that it's clear she totally cuts her hair herself. I went to Comic-Con this past weekend, New York Comic-Con. With how much AI slop has been plaguing the internet lately, I was really looking forward to spending time in Artist Alley this year and getting a chance to appreciate all of the actual human creations in real life. Thank you so much, ReedPop, for banning AI at your cons, by the way. I think in a couple of places, some might have snuck through onto the show floor, but I mean, if they hadn't explicitly banned it, it would have been way worse. Considering how burnt out I've been all year and how much I've been struggling with making stuff in the past few months in particular, part of me was worried I would see all of the amazing art and feel a little bit insecure. I sometimes dream about being a vendor at conventions, but it's hard to feel like my stuff is good enough. And there's definitely nowhere near enough of it. I was worried I would get hit with imposter syndrome hard and leave feeling discouraged. But instead, I was inspired. I got to meet some really cool people and I bought some really cool stuff, including a Modius mousepad that I am using right now as I'm editing. I think it was also just how packed Artist Alley was. People were so excited to see things they loved, including me. I got so much Winx stuff. There was a lot of Winx this year, actually. Like I said before, Rainbow had a booth for the reboot, and I took pictures with a lot of Winx cosplayers. I put that on my community tab. Like, it was refreshing, reinvigorating even. I'm really excited to get back into the swing of things and put out more videos. Yeah. Wow, reaching the end of this one almost feels a little surreal. It's nerve-wracking coming back after a hiatus, especially one so long and extra, especially an accidental one. So I really hope I'm returning with something that you guys will all enjoy. I'm really grateful for everyone who's messaged me about the channel and the rewrite and how I've been since I've been gone. I really mean it when I say that the best part of this is the community that we have, and I can't wait to hear from you all in the comments. Just a reminder that these stickers are now available on my website, and to follow me on my other socials, especially Tumblr. I love getting asks about the rewrite and getting to talk about all of that and clarify stuff. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you again soon. Bye. I think October is a perfectly fine time to be doing Pride stickers.